For decades, the dream was clear. Everyone wanted to move to America. The land of opportunity, the place where hard work promised success. But today, that dream is shifting. Because for the first time in modern history, millions of Americans are now dreaming of moving out, and many are choosing one place that almost no one expected: India. What could possibly make Americans trade comfort, order, and convenience for the chaos, color, and charm of India? Why would someone leave behind the world's richest nation to live in a country once labeled developing? The truth is, India isn't what most people imagine. It's not just crowded streets and spicy food. It's a nation reinventing itself before the world's eyes. A land where ancient spirituality meets cutting-edge innovation. A country where you can buy a meal for $1, meditate in a 500-year-old temple, and launch a tech startup, all in the same day. For Americans tired of high costs, loneliness, and the endless race for success, India offers something deeper: connection, community, and a chance to live with meaning. I've traveled across Asia, from Singapore's futuristic skyline to Japan's flawless efficiency, but nowhere did I see Americans finding a second home quite like in India. This is not just about relocation, it's about transformation. Welcome to a story that turns the American dream upside down. This is why India is the new home for millions of Americans, the Great American Exodus. For decades, the idea of making it meant moving to America. But now, something remarkable is happening. Americans are quietly packing their bags and moving out. The reasons aren't hard to see. Across the U.S., the cost of living has skyrocketed. In cities like Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco, housing prices are out of reach, grocery bills keep climbing, and healthcare has become a luxury instead of a right. Middle-class families that once dreamed of owning homes now struggle to pay rent. Even professionals earning six figures are realizing that comfort doesn't equal happiness. Then came the pandemic, a global reset that forced millions to question what home really means. Remote work exploded, and for the first time in history, Americans could work from anywhere, no longer tied to cubicles or coastlines. Suddenly, the world became an open map. Countries like Thailand, Portugal, Mexico, and Indonesia became popular first. Beaches, cheap food, and good Wi-Fi. What more could you ask for? But for a growing number of Americans, there was one destination that offered something deeper, something unexpected: India. It wasn't just about affordability, it was about meaning. Americans who once visited India for yoga retreats or business trips started staying longer. Months turned into years. They found a sense of belonging, a rhythm of life that was chaotic yet strangely peaceful. A recent trend among expats shows this shift clearly. More Americans are settling in South Asia, particularly India, than ever before. As one traveler put it, "I came to India for 6 weeks, and 3 years later, I'm still here. I've never felt more alive." India, it seems, isn't just another stop on the global map. It is becoming the new home for Americans searching for peace, purpose, and possibility. Transition, but why India, of all places? The answer lies in a mix of economy, emotion, and experience, starting with the simple fact that in India, your dollar doesn't just stretch. It multiplies. Cost of living, where $1 feels like 10. If you've ever tried renting an apartment in Los Angeles or New York, you know the pain. A tiny studio for $3,000 a month, plus utilities, plus taxes, plus the never-ending anxiety of bills. But in India, that same $3,000 can cover an entire year of rent in some cities. In Bengaluru, Pune, or Goa, beautiful furnished apartments with balconies, Wi-Fi, and housekeeping can cost between $500 and $800 a month. Add in meals of vibrant, flavorful, and often organic for less than $10 a day, and you begin to see why so many Americans are stunned when they calculate the difference. For the first time, they can afford comfort without compromise. They can hire domestic help, get laundry done, and enjoy affordable transportation. Luxuries that only the ultra-wealthy enjoy back in the U.S. public transport is evolving fast. Cities like Delhi, Hyderabad, and Mumbai now have modern metro systems rivaling those of Tokyo or London. Short flights between cities are cheap and taxis cost less than a cup of coffee in New York. And then there's healthcare, a revelation for many. India's hospitals attract patients from around the world for medical tourism. Top quality surgeries, dental care, or cosmetic procedures cost a fraction of U.S. prices, and doctors often spend more time listening than rushing. As one American expat said, for the price of 1 month's rent in Manhattan, I can live for 6 months in India and eat like royalty. But beyond the financial freedom, there's a deeper realization. India doesn't just make your money go further. It makes life itself feel richer, because when you're not worried about bills, you finally have time to live, to learn, to travel, to connect. And for remote workers, India is becoming the perfect place to do all three. Transition, affordable living is one thing, but what truly seals India's place as the new expat frontier is how seamlessly it blends modern technology with human connection. Remote work haven India's digital edge. India isn't just ancient temples and bustling bazaars anymore. It is also one of the most digitally advanced nations on Earth. From cashless payments to co-working spaces, the infrastructure for a modern work-life balance is already here. In cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Gurugram, you'll find chic co-working cafes, startup hubs, and reliable high-speed internet. India's digital revolution, powered by initiatives like IndiaStack and UPI Unified Payments Interface, has made it incredibly easy to live, work, and pay, all from your phone. Imagine buying groceries, ordering a cab, paying rent, and tipping your yoga instructor without ever handling cash. That's the everyday reality in urban India today. For remote workers, time zones are surprisingly favorable. Americans working with clients in Europe or Asia find that India offers the perfect middle ground. Many expats say the rhythm of India's day, early starts, vibrant mornings, slower evenings, fits naturally with remote life. Then there's the community. Across cities and towns, expat meetups, co-living hubs, and digital nomad villas are popping up. Americans are meeting other remote professionals, collaborating on projects, and even launching startups in India's fast-growing innovation scene. One American programmer shared, "I came here for a 6-month coding project. That was 3 years ago. I stayed because life feels balanced here, intense when I want it to be, peaceful when I need it to be." India's blend of ancient rhythm and modern connectivity gives remote workers the best of both worlds. Productivity and peace. Transition. But beneath the digital edge lies something deeper, something that no Wi-Fi connection can replicate. It's the soul of India, its culture, spirituality, and the human warmth that truly captures hearts. Culture, spirituality, and connection. India is not just a country, it's a civilization. A living museum of humanity that has been evolving for over 5,000 years. And that's exactly what makes it magnetic for those who come searching for something beyond comfort. For many Americans, life back home feels efficient but empty. Work, commute, sleep, repeat. India, on the other hand, offers something that can't be measured in money, meaning, here spirituality isn't an activity, it's part of daily life. Whether it's yoga at sunrise in Rishikesh, meditation in Dharamshala, or simply the act of lighting a diya lamp in the evening, India invites reflection. You slow down, and for the first time, you breathe. Ayurveda, India's traditional science of life, has attracted thousands of Americans seeking holistic healing. And places like Varanasi, Goa, and Auroville have become magnets for those pursuing mindfulness and self-discovery. Then there's the warmth of the people. In India, hospitality is not a courtesy, it's a philosophy. Atithi Devo Bhava, the guest is God. It is common for strangers to invite you for chai or offer help without expecting anything in return. As one American traveler said, "Back home, I felt invisible. Here, I feel seen." People care. They notice, they include you, and that is perhaps India's greatest gift, a sense of connection in a world that is increasingly disconnected. Reflection. India isn't just changing where Americans live, it is changing how they live. It's awakening a sense of gratitude, spirituality, and shared humanity that many thought was lost. Transition, but India's magic doesn't come only from its temples or traditions. It also comes from how it is transforming into one of the most dynamic modern nations on earth. The new India modernity meets tradition. When most outsiders picture India, they imagine chaos, crowded streets, noisy markets, and endless traffic. But the reality is far more complex and far more inspiring. This is a nation reinventing itself, one metro line, expressway, and startup at a time. The new India is sleek, confident, and global, yet still deeply rooted in its culture. In cities like Mumbai, Bengaluru, Delhi, and Chennai, you'll find designer cafes, high-end malls, clean metros, and booming tech parks. The country that once outsourced to Silicon Valley is now producing its own unicorns, billion-dollar companies, and AI innovators. India's fluency in English, coupled with its exposure to Western culture, makes adaptation easy for Americans. From Netflix and Amazon to local OTT platforms, everything feels familiar yet excitingly different. Many young Americans are not just living here, they're working with Indian startups, teaching English, or collaborating on creative projects. Others are running YouTube channels, travel blogs, and wellness retreats, turning India itself into a platform for purpose-driven living. And beyond the modern facade, India's traditions still thrive. Festivals like Diwali, Holi, and Navratri fill the streets with color and music. You might see a high-tech drone show one night and a temple procession the next, and both feel perfectly natural. As one expat described it, India is like a kaleidoscope. Every turn shows you something new, and somehow all the pieces fit together. Reflection. In India, the past and future walk hand in hand. You can feel the pulse of progress while standing on ground that's thousands of years old. And for many Americans, that blend of ambition and soul is exactly what they've been searching for. The human connection. If there's one thing Americans don't expect to find in India, it's belonging. Yet, time and again, that's exactly what they discover. What starts as a journey for cheaper living often transforms into something far deeper, a reconnection with humanity itself. In India, neighbors are not just people who live next door. They're family, from shared meals during Diwali to spontaneous tea conversations on balconies. Friendships here often grow into lifelong bonds. For many Americans used to the isolation of suburban life, where people barely know their neighbors, this openness feels like a breath of fresh air. Then there's the empathy. In the U.S., success often means independence. In India, it's about interdependence. People look out for each other. A stranger will help you find your way. A local vendor might remember your favorite snack. It's these small, human gestures that quietly heal the loneliness many Westerners didn't even realize they carried. American retirees have begun settling in quieter Indian towns like Pondicherry, Rishikesh, and Kochi, places where they find purpose again. Some volunteer at schools, others teach English or work with NGOs. They're not just living longer, they're living better. Families, too, are discovering India as a place to raise their children with values of gratitude, respect, and community spirit. And then there's love, literal love. A growing number of Americans are marrying into Indian families, forming bridges between two worlds. The Indian diaspora that once left for the West now witnesses a reverse migration, where the West returns, not to conquer, but to connect. As one expat put it beautifully, it's not just cheap living, it's rich living. Because what truly shocks Americans isn't how different India is. It's how familiar it starts to feel, a place that mirrors not what they left behind, but what they've been missing all along. Lessons Americans learn from India living in India doesn't just change your surroundings, it changes you. Americans who once measured success by promotions and possessions begin to redefine what wealth really means. Here, life is about more than accumulation, it's about appreciation. A morning cup of chai, a temple bell echoing in the distance, a sunset over the Ganges. These simple moments become the new luxury. India teaches patience. Things move differently here. Trains might be late, traffic might test your nerves, but somewhere in that chaos, Americans find calm. They learn that not everything needs to happen fast to be fulfilling. Gratitude follows. In a place where people often make do with little and still smile, Americans rediscover humility. They learn adaptability, how to live with less, feel more, and embrace imperfection. The art of balance seeps into daily life. Work no longer defines the day, life does. Spirituality isn't confined to temples. It's in the way people greet each other, share food, and show respect to elders. Diversity isn't an idea here, it's a lived experience. Dozens of languages, faiths, and traditions coexist, sometimes messily but meaningfully. One American summed it up perfectly. In America, I chased success. In India, I found myself. It's not about escaping the West, it's about evolving beyond it. Transition. So, what does this mean for the future? Could India really be the new destination for a generation redefining what home means? A global shift in motion. This isn't just a few people moving abroad. It's part of a much bigger story, a global shift in motion. India is no longer seen only as a land of mysticism or outsourcing. It's now a hub of innovation, culture, and connection. Its influence is growing not just economically, but spiritually and culturally. From yoga to technology, from cinema to startups, India's soft power is shaping global conversations. Migration flows are reversing. For the first time in modern history, Westerners are moving east, not for adventure, but for alignment. India's democracy, youth energy, and cultural warmth make it a magnetic alternative to the increasingly isolated, expensive lifestyle in the West. Maybe the American dream isn't dying. Maybe it's just changing its address. Because for millions of Americans, India isn't just another country on the map. It's the future they didn't know they were searching for. Closing call to action from San Francisco to Bengaluru, from New York to Goa. Americans are making a quiet revolution. They're trading luxury for life, trading noise for meaning, trading loneliness for belonging. What they're discovering is simple. Happiness can't be measured in dollars. It's found in the chaos of a street market, in the kindness of a stranger, in the peace of a morning prayer. India doesn't ask you to be someone else. It asks you to be yourself, completely, imperfectly, and joyfully. So let me ask you, would you ever move to India? What excites you about the idea? What scares you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. If this story opened your mind or touched your heart, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's been dreaming of a new life abroad. Because the next video will dive even deeper. The hidden truth. How India is changing Western lives forever. India isn't just rising, it's redefining what it means to live, love, and belong.